All right, we are live. You have to bear with me 1 second. We are on the field at Jordan Hare Stadium.
It's like a fisheye lens.
It is. It's kind of a weird look, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're just going to go with it. We're going to go with it there.
You say weird. I like it. It's
Okay.
a good look.
Yeah. Jordan Hare Stadium behind us. Alabama wins 27-24.
Is that the final score? Because somebody asked me the final score. I was like, I don't know what the final score is. Yeah. So that last touchdown, they stepped out?
I think they ruled Terrion Arnold out of bounds. There was so much chaos going on. I don't entirely know Dunaway. Oh, this is your water, my apologies.
Okay. This is your
legendary ESPN reporter Chris Lowe, everybody. Good to see you, Chris. Good to see you, buddy. Chris Lowe here at the game.
It's our brand.
It is, yes, designing water. So let's talk about what we saw there, Dunaway. And I don't know, I have seen some crazy Iron Bowl endings, but two I've seen on this field and separated a decade apart. I don't know that you could script crazier endings than those two.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're not going to tell me it's the craziest one you've ever seen.
That's crazy. Dunaway was 4th and 31.
I know, yes, it was 4th and 31, but you've seen in your lifetime people throw a Hail Mary and win a game. You've never seen anybody miss a field goal, return it 109 yards.
No, I've not seen that. Okay. I've not seen it again since.
So it's second. It's the second craziest.
Yeah, maybe the second craziest ending I've ever seen. Yeah. Let's walk through it. When the first of all,
I'd love to see in the chat room
because the chat room's moving quick.
I haven't seen replays or anything. I've seen the feed in, but his whole route, I assume they've looked at the whole route and everything is.
You'd know by now.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he had stepped out of bounds, I think you'd have heard it by now.
Yeah. So it was a crazy game from the get-go.
Yeah.
But let's start at the end, work backwards.
Okay.
Because it's you get the fumble, which is a gift, right?
Right.
Fumble. So now you've got the scoring opportunity, and you're going to try to score and leave as little time as possible for Auburn to come in and do what they do at Jordan Hare Stadium.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and you've worked it to perfection, really.
First and goal at the 7.
That's right. And you're forcing now Hugh Freeze has got to use his timeouts, right?
That's
right. First and goal at the 7. Now Hugh Freeze has got to use his timeouts. That has gone exactly like you wanted.
But you've got to get a touchdown with no field goal.
Yep.
And then I don't want to say this has been haunting them all year long, but center to quarterback exchange comes back and haunts them again.
You know what's funny is I was standing next to Alex Scarborough, ESPN.com, and Alex says,
"Watch your toes,
folks. Come on through.
Yeah, come on. No, this is so loosey-goosey.
CBS winding their cables
Only
here.
thing you're doing is disrupting him, dropping names.
So I'm standing next to Alex Scarborough of ESPN.com.
Yep.
And he goes, the full circle moment for Alabama will be jumping off sides here, motion, the way they've done it all year. And then the snap goes past Milroe, and I'm like, actually, no, that's your full circle moment right there. He said, you're right. I'd forgotten about that.
It's been a constant with this team. And this time the snap was pretty good. It just wasn't when it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And then you think, okay, he feels it on a big bounce. Milroe's going to make a good play with it. Well, he slips and falls or decides to fall. And then at that point, you're backed up.
Yep.
Now it's forever. And then you get the miracle play, which they call it the Gravedigger.
Gravedigger is the name of the play. That is from Isaiah Vine. It's interesting. Nick Saban was asked the call of it in the post-game news conference and said, I'm not going to tell you, basically.
Right.
And then Isaiah Vine comes right out. They ask him because, we call it Gravedigger.
Well, hell, we might as well tell you anyway. Michigan will tell us later in the week. That's
true. That's true. What an amazing play. What an amazing name for a play, right?
Gravedigger. Yeah.
And Nick Saban said they run that in practice. They actually practice that play.
Every week.
Which
you sit there and you say to yourself, so you practice a 4th and long end of game situation every week.
Yep.
Every week.
That is crazy. Michael, I don't know the answer to this. He's on Facebook. What happened to the interception at the end? I'm assuming they ruled him out of bounds.
He stepped out of bounds.
I'm on the field. It was just complete chaos.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he stepped out of bounds.
Terrion Arnold told me, he said, his quote to me afterwards was, they tell me I stepped out of bounds.
He doesn't believe it.
I wanted the pick six 10 years after the kick six.
Mm-hmm.
And people are trying to label the play now.
Gravedigger.
That's the name of the play.
Well, I know.
But to title in history like 2nd and 26 and the kick six,
the miracle of Jordan Hare, the kick.
Speaking with folks from ESPN, they oftentimes will set the agenda here. They're talking about calling it the mill throw.
The mill throw. I'm not a fan, right?
I wasn't either.
EG's got a suggestion.
4th and Milroe.
Nightmare at Jordan Hare. Hair.
Nightmare at Jordan Hare. Yes, for a lot of people.
And
EG, jump in here real quick. Say these on camera again.
okay, hello everyone.
Hi,
Yeah.
EG.
We've got 4th and Milroe.
Okay.
You should have your hoodie on, your vest.
No,
Take the
no,
vest
no.
off. Yeah.
Nightmare at Jordan Hare.
Yeah.
And Miracle Milroe.
Miracle Moon. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Good work.
I did see some of those floating around.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
No, really
so
good.
there's not good. Those are not.
Back to work
Okay.
for you.
Yeah,
Back to
yeah.
work for you.
EG back editing.
She's editing stuff that you'll see on our social media platforms coming up.
Yeah, I mean, 4th and 31. You got second and 26 in Alabama history. That was for a national championship. But if Alabama goes on to do anything, if they find a way to beat Georgia,
For some people, Monday morning at work, this was more important.
yeah, yeah, that's right. You didn't have to go to work with those
Yeah.
Georgia people, did you?
Yeah.
I love my little T right here. At least we covered my parlay is still alive. Look at little T.
MyBookie.ag promo code next round.
Neil, 4th and 31. Smuff, 4th down and Milroe to go. That's not terrible. That's not terrible.
By the way, the Milroe throw was perfect.
Oh gosh, yes.
It was
You
a
could not have
perfect
thrown
throw.
it any
You
better.
could not have thrown it any
Yeah,
better.
there's a lot of hand fighting and contact. I thought the officials, if you're an Auburn fan, you're going to want to push off. If you're an Alabama fan, you would have wanted interference if it's incomplete. I get that when I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I thought the officials did a good job of letting that go. There was fighting on both ends. Maybe he pushes a little bit, but he's also got an arm grab there. So I'm okay with that.
Which, by the way, if you had it to do over with again, you take the. Well, I guess that would be a spot foul. You can't take that penalty because that would be at the 1 yard line at that point. If you're an Auburn defender, if you're beat at that point,
better than the touchdown.
yeah.
All right, so the play was set up, and I thought this was interesting too. And Nick Saban explained this to us in the post game. The 4th and 1, you've got 4th and inches after an incredible hit. I believe it was Nehemiah Pritchett. It was on the far sideline for me, on Milroe to force the 4th and 1. Just an incredible stop right there.
Boy,
Stoned Milroe just a yard short.
listen, there's a lot of questions on officiating on that one. I was surprised about that spot
Yeah,
and that there wasn't a review on the spot on that one.
I'm all the way across the field. I have no
Didn't
idea.
matter. I
Didn't
was
matter.
right on the chain.
So
It didn't matter because they got the first down anyway.
So
But it was a violent collision.
So Saban says they've got a play called, and I wondered if they would do this. First of all, I'm thinking brotherly shove,
That's right.
You've got it in the playbook.
And it's worked.
It's worked. It's really, really difficult to stop. They do have some trick plays off of it, but in that situation, you're like, hey, don't get super tricky. Saban says they call the play where they try to draw him off of the hard count, and then Milroe looks to the sideline for the checkoff.
Right.
So it did look like Milroe actually checked that off. But the checkoff came from the sideline, and they check it off to the toss. Bold play. I mean, you have a bad toss. You slip. I mean, it's
very slick surface.
It's
Natural grass.
winter rye, but it's winter rye. I mean, you saw Caleb Downs slip on one of those punt returns.
By the way, he is injured going into the SEC.
Yeah, he was limping
championship
around,
game.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him limping around. So I thought that was an interesting play call there on the 4th and 1. You've got the muffed punt, and EG was in the Auburn postgame. EG, come step in here again. EG's in the Auburn postgame. So Hugh Freeze has asked about Keontae Scott.
Yes. So
Yeah.
he was
He thought
asked-
Keontae Scott was back.
So the question was, what was the mindset on putting Coy Moore to return instead of Keontae Scott, who you had the entire game?
Yeah.
And he thought that it was Keontae. He did not realize it was Coy
That was the
Moore.
first time he realized it was
Yes.
Coy Moore.
And then he said that Keontae must have taken himself out of the game, but he's going to have to clarify with Canada,
Wow. Okay.
which is very interesting.
Yeah, it
I
is.
audibly gasped.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is
So
very
you did?
Yeah, I was like,
very surprising that the head coach didn't know who was back.
right.
Yeah.
Especially that was such a defining moment, critical. And we can't speculate if Keontae was back there, he would have had a clean catch, and it would have been, in my opinion, a completely different outcome. But that wasn't the reality. So
All right. Good
Back
work,
to
EG.
work.
EG's back to work, back to editing for EG. So, I mean,
If I could edit, I'd just let her stay here. That was really top-notch stuff.
Well, unfortunately,
She painted the scenario, by the way. I gasped out loud. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, I've sensed the urgency there when you said
Yeah.
that.
unfortunately for Coy Moore, though, that one's going to stick with you there. I mean, I hate it for the kid. You don't ever,
Oh, yeah, but.
I mean, but again, you were talking about the turf. He slipped and fell.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got. I mean, you got 11 guys who's got many opportunities to save him and bail him
No
out
doubt.
because they got to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't think you pin it on him.
Oh, I
I
don't
mean,
pin it on him,
yeah.
but he's probably going to, he's going to deal with that the rest
I
of
would
his
tell him, big guy,
his
you know,
career.
we could have stopped him. If I was
Yeah.
an Auburn player, I'd be like, dude, it's not your fault. We could have stopped
Yeah.
him. We could have stopped him. It was
Yeah.
4th and 31, dude. We could have stopped him, not you.
Unless you think, these rivalry games, Washington won at home by 3 over Washington State. These rivalry games are just tough football, man. It's tough football. Florida State's down right now 10-0 to Florida.
That's what I would be saying if I was trying to convince the committee, and hopefully the committee knows that. But, this is not, back to reality.
Yeah.
This was not Alabama's best showing to the committee a day after Oregon blitzed Oregon State, but at home. Texas beat Texas Tech. Yep. Not really a rivalry game.
No, not at all.
At home. Yep. This was on the road.
Yep.
Washington at home for theirs, not in Pullman, so that hurts them a little bit, but they're still unbeaten.
Yeah. But, it's, again, as I've always said, if you beat Georgia, and that's what I don't know if this Alabama team can do, but I've got to be honest with you, I kind of flash back to the last time I walked out of this stadium.
That's right.
I didn't think there was any way Alabama could go on the road and go to the Dome and beat Georgia.
No, when they won in 4 overtimes right here in this end zone behind us.
It was awful all game long.
All week long. I told my family members and friends were like, "What chance are you giving against Georgia?" I was like, "Did you just see them?
Yeah,
they couldn't block anybody, and Georgia's got so much better in Auburn. Yeah. And then they beat them."
I think the concerning thing, though, Dunaway, in playing Georgia, as you look forward on this, is Alabama. I'm going to get the final number. Last time I checked, it was 250.
It was 250 plus. Nick Saban said in the postgame, we could not stop them.
They couldn't stop the run.
You know who runs?
Georgia.
Georgia runs it.
244
but enjoy the Iron Bowl first.
244 rush yards on 42 attempts. They knew they could run, and they ran. And maybe Hugh Freeze, when he looks back on this, the one thing he probably regrets is they came out so pass heavy early on and had some empty possessions early, and then Alabama drove it down and scored. Knowing what you now know, they ran the ball almost at will in this game.
They did, but I think some of those early passes set, pass early to run late, and I think that helped. It helped set the table for them running the football in the game. How they came out aggressive.
Yeah. You look at Milroe in this game. I'm going to pull up his final numbers. I don't know if you've looked at his final numbers.
I've looked at no numbers. Yeah, I've been shooting video and sending out stuff.
Pretty chaotic. Milroe finished 16 to 24, 259, 2 touchdowns. Rushed 18 times for 107 yards. This is a game, this Iron Bowl, that we love to make heroes out of. You remember a Van Tiffen that made a play, Chris Davis that made a play. Those guys live in infamy. A John Mechie that made the final catch right there. In the corner of this end zone behind us right here, Ja'Cory Brooks, the guy that's disappeared, is a guy that made a key catch one time to keep an Alabama championship hope alive. This Jalen Milroe game, it was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, you'll think back on his play tonight for a very long time.
Yeah. No,
more than 366. I don't want to do math that quick. 366 total yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Alabama did not turn the ball over, and Auburn didn't until that very final interception that got wiped off.
And the pump fumble.
Oh, the pump fumble, yeah.
Until very late in the game.
Very late in the game. Auburn was very clean. Yeah. Helicopter over. Sorry for the noise. Yeah.
It's doing traffic, which I always will tell you is hard leaving here.
I can't imagine. We are at Jordan here behind us. Alabama has won the game 27-24. Just an incredible win. I looked at the scoreboard like it was on.
You're delivering that like it was breaking news. And Alabama has just won the game.
I was going to try to sneak in some listener comments here, but they're moving so fast.
Would you like to bring in EG for a couple more seconds while I run to the bathroom?
Patty, do you need to go?
Well, it's either that or I'm going to pee on myself.
Okay.
Whatever's good. Whatever good for clicks.
Come on, EG. Patty asked, "What's the Georgia-Alabama line?" I've seen an early line of 4.5.
I haven't seen anything yet, but we can.
Early line. I've seen an early line, 4.5. It won't be out yet. But I will say right now, EG, Georgia and Georgia Tech are tied at 7.
So there's that.
Clean old-fashioned hate is kicking right there. You were in the Auburn post game.
Yes.
It was Hugh Freeze. What players did they bring in?
Hugh Freeze, goodness, they had Jarquez Hunter, Eugene Asante, Jalen Simpson, Peyton Thorne, and I think someone else.
Can you describe, for those that have not seen the video yet, just kind of the mood in there? Because that is a difficult loss to swallow.
It was so depressing.
Yeah.
I walked in, and so we were all sitting literally right here. So this is where I am behind this team.
Right.
And we were preparing to have the crowd behind us start storming.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there. I have like my little photographer friend, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab your arm, and I'm just going to follow you in. So spirits are high.
Yeah.
Obviously, it did not end like that.
Right.
And so we all have to file back in, and it is just dead silent. There's not a lot of emotion. Coach Freeze comes out, not talking, very loud. And the first thing he said was, obviously, I'm proud of the kids, but it sucks. So there's a lot of heads that are hung in that room, obviously. he didn't go on for very long, and then players came in. And Peyton, I wasn't able to hear much of his because everyone swarmed and I was with another player. But the overall mood was, we're better than this. We should have won. It's going to stick with us. But Auburn fans, here's some hope. The other theme was, this is Coach Freeze's first year.
Right.
And we were able to hang with Georgia and hang with Alabama. No, it's not perfect, but it says a lot about the direction of the program.
Yeah, and this is your first Iron Bowl, by the way.
Yes.
Let's stop and just appreciate that EG had never been to an Iron Bowl until today. So would you rate it 10 out of 10? Would recommend?
Probably like a 20 out of it was the most fun game I've been a part of. It was amazing, and I grew up a Georgia fan, if you guys didn't know. So I don't
from Atlanta.
I don't have a lot of skin in this game, and so it's kind of fun to be able to enjoy it more as a spectator of both teams, not necessarily a fan. I will say, from my perspective, there were some interesting calls, and I don't have a lot of skin in the game, so you can trust
on both sides.
On both sides.
On both sides. Okay.
On both sides.
So let me ask you this, because Dunaway and I sit in the press box, which is to our right, and it's unfortunately here at Auburn an enclosed press box. So you get a decent feel of the crowd, but nothing close. So tell me what this crowd was like that Alabama was having to deal with on the road.
I wish I could have, in all the videos that y'all saw, I wish that you could hear what I was hearing.
Yeah.
It was the loudest environment I've heard. I was at Texas Bama, Tennessee Bama, Georgia, Auburn, you name it. And this environment was off the charts. The fans were in it from the first snap until the last. And it was just, I couldn't help but smile and just look around, because this is college football. It's amazing. Rivalry week. It was, I had chills the entire time. It was amazing.
Thanks, EG. Dunaway's back from the bathroom.
Oh, no.
Welcome back. I want to ask you something, because she's talking about what some Auburn fans have said about Hugh Freeze. I wish that was working. We could just go back and forth. Some Auburn fans said about Hugh Freeze is that, hey, or some of the players, I think is what EG said. Yeah, some of the players said this about Hugh Freeze. Hey,
well, can I just
Coach,
guess?
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything you said.
I want to hear this.
Okay, this is what the players said about Hugh Freeze?
Yes.
But the players wouldn't say this, but if I'm an Auburn fan, I would say if he could take this team and do to Alabama what he just did, imagine what he will do when he gets a quality roster.
And so what I was going to say to that is, I remember that same sentiment walking out of this stadium in 2009 when Gene Chizik in his first year took the eventual national champion, Alabama, to the absolute wire. Took a final drive for Alabama to actually come win that. I remember a little bit of that same sentiment, even though everybody wasn't sold on Brian Harsin. I think the night we walked out of here in 2021, there was probably more people on Brian Harsin's side than he ever got at Auburn.
And he was, I was here late that night. And he was recruiting deep into the night, had people on official visits, and they were still there. And I haven't walked back into the recruiting room yet. I would imagine Hugh Freeze is doing the same thing right now with a bunch of big time recruits.
So you got to take it and build on it. It's I get what the sentiment is, but I've seen that sentiment before, and it doesn't always play out that way. Here's Bobby, a longtime Auburn fan. Listener comment for you: Rod Roberts should be fired immediately for that final play call. Worst play call in Auburn history. Boy, you gave Jalen Milroe a long time. That's a lot to ask to cover that long.
To Bobby's point, why do you play 59 minutes and you're pressuring the quarterback? And then what I assume, I haven't seen it again, I was in a bad angle. I assume they only rushed 3 and they dropped 8.
They rushed 3, but they had a spy, according to Samuel. I've seen a lot of people say this. I've seen some people say that they spied him.
A waste.
Yeah, why are you spying him on 4th and 31? He is not going to run. He's got to throw the football.
Yeah, it's almost like,
if he was going to run, he would have run on that 3rd down. And even on the 3rd down, he knew, I can't run right here. So he stopped now. He's over the line of scrimmage, and he made the throw.
That's right. At some point, Bobby and them were right. You defend Castle, man. You're in the end zone. If you did have a spy, that doesn't make any sense at that point, because at that point, when he comes across the line, then anybody can be a spy coming out of the end zone.
So there was a lot of confusion about the final play. I am told from the Southeastern Conference that was actually reviewed and the points were taken off the board on review. I don't know how it was ruled on the field because it was complete chaos. But I'm assuming if it was ruled out of bounds, it was ruled a touchdown on the field. Replay took those points off the board. It's irrelevant points unless your name's Terrion Arnold. You would like to have a touchdown in the Iron Bowl, I'm sure. But we've been asked a lot about what happened there.
Yeah, and it doesn't impact the gambling line, which was 13.5.
Yeah,
that would have only been 9.
Yeah. And 2, gosh, Drake's Point on Facebook, 0 DBs can cover that long. 0. You're right. You're asking, by not putting some pressure on Milroe, you're asking your DBs to stay in phase with a receiver for a very long time. And
well, you guys probably can go back and look at on your DVRs real quick, just time how long the DB had to stay with him. It was forever.
You, standing right down there on the field back there was where I was. It felt like 30 minutes he was out there running around.
Yeah. But I mean, there's no excuse though.
Yeah.
I mean, you as a defensive back in that situation, you're really only covering the end zone. So at that point, 8 of you should be able, 7 of you if you had a spy, should be able to cover the eligible receivers that are in the end zone. But it really did take a perfect throw onto the perfect spot of the field. And actually, when he threw it to that one spot, I thought he missed Burton, who had cut like right on the goal line from the back on the goal line. And he was sort of disappointed when Milroe let go that he missed it.
He was waving heavy. I don't know if it showed on TV.
Because he had broke free like right at the goal line. Like it would have been a catch fall in. And he threw it to the corner, which again, you're bringing out of bounds on both the back line and the sideline and a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just one for the ages. It's like the kick 6. It's like 2nd and 26. It's like the band on the field. I mean, it just happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, some of it will determine, the way you think of it historically, some of it will be determined by what Alabama does with this win. They've got to, they talk a lot about the 24-hour rule. This will be put to a test because you got to flush this quickly because you're playing the best team in the nation next week. And your only hope of winning a championship is beating that team on the field.
Yeah. And you always, like the kick 6 for Auburn fans, it's a well-executed short field goal kick returned 109 yards 10 years ago for a touchdown. But for the Alabama fan, it is horrific coverage. And, maybe it wasn't the smartest coaching decision to do. And then it's a horrific coverage. It's not remembered like a spectacularly executed play from the losing side. So for Alabama tonight, they're thinking about, it's the Gravedigger. We practice this every week. We executed it perfectly. That's the way it's supposed to work. From the Auburn side, you're going to sit there and be, we failed in that situation. 2nd and 26, it looks like the perfect drawn-up play to Devontae.
That's right.
But on the Georgia side, I guarantee you they sit there and go, man, this guy got looked off and he didn't cover the deep ball like he was supposed to. So there's always these crazy endings like this. There's always both sides where it feels like one team thinks they executed it perfectly and the other side thinks they fumbled it, messed it up.
All right. Wild night at Jordan Hare, man. I mean,
you have to say that? You just say Jordan Hare. You don't have to say wild night at Jordan Hare. You just say Jordan Hare.
Well, what is it about this stadium and Iron Bowls? What is it about this stadium and Iron Bowls? Give me the last bad Iron Bowl you've been to here.
It doesn't happen. I told E.G. her first Iron Bowl when we got here, I said, of all the places you should play the Iron Bowl, this is the best one. And it's because it's usually a blowout in Tuscaloosa.
It's usually insane here.
And when it's here, you just wait for it to get crazy. And something crazy is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it did. It did tonight, and for the first time in a long time. Well, I mean, the last time it was a couple big breaks for Alabama too. So the last 2 wins for Alabama, has actually ended up being as crazy as the game is and as close as the game is. Alabama fans can't really talk about all the bad luck they get here because the last 2 times that they've won, they've sort of been lucky to win. They haven't won the game for 60 minutes. They've won it at the end.
Yeah, some are wondering if that play maybe exercised the demons of the kick 6, which, by the way, was heavily celebrated. I'm not sure how much CBS discussed that, but it was heavily celebrated here today. They honored the 2013 team during one of the, I think it was the quarter changeover. I think it was after the.
Chris Davis was the yell leader.
Yeah, Chris Davis did the cheer before. They honored the team, the 2013 team, between the first and second quarter. So
as they should.
Yeah, the 10th anniversary of the kick 6 was prominent here. They also mentioned the prayer of Jordan Hare or the miracle of Jordan Hare, whatever you call it.
Plus, it was CBS's last Iron Bowl, and just thinking, CBS did both of those games back in 2013.
CBS should tie some of their money back to the Iron Bowl fund, the Alabama and Auburn Athletic Department, because how many great. I'm told by Lunsford here, there's a 4th and 31 Gravedigger score shirt in the TNR store.
In our store?
How quick did we do that?
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to go buy it, 4th and 31 Gravedigger.
Okay, Lunsford, I know this is going to ask a lot.
Is that in the store yet?
No. You actually could upload a picture real quick and on this, and you could pop it up from your from your studios right there and let everyone see it real quick.
Yeah.
If you got time to do that.
February Star says the bad part of losing CBS, can't watch this play every 5 minutes for the next 10 years. They have shown the heck out of that kick six.
Yeah.
SEC actually owns those rights.
That's right. The SEC will take it with them.
Yep. The SEC will own those rights, and what they'll do with the audio, I don't know. I haven't heard. Lunsford's logging on here, so Lunsford, I guess, is going to share this shirt.
We're going to try it. So don't go anywhere. If you're watching, it's thumbs up.
Yeah.
Or thumbs down, depending on the mood you're in. I see a couple of thumbs down.
We get it. I understand.
I don't blame you.
It's the state of Alabama. Half going to be happy, half going to be sad.
If you could give us middle fingers, I understand you would do that too. It happens.
And also make sure you've subscribed at Next Round Live. Follow us on social media at Next Round Live.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's the picture.
4th and 31 Gravedigger. Wow. I like the heartbeat thing on it right there.
Yep. Boy, that's available right now, huh?
Yeah, buy it in the store.
Wow.
4th and 31 Gravedigger. Well, just when you hear the name Gravedigger, that one's going to stick with you, isn't it?
I mean, Lunsford, I don't want to tell you.
Oh, look, it's in gray, too.
I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but are we selling it for $27.24?
That would be the way,
yeah. Get it right now for $27.24.
Yep.
Wow. Gravedigger is out right now.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. You can buy that nextround.store. Nextround.store, good for Christmas.
Lunsford, you've got my credit card number, so go ahead and give me 2.
All right. Well, that is going to do it from Jordan Hare Stadium. Thank you guys for sticking around with us for the post-game show.
Roback.com/TNR20. Great Christmas gifts.
That's right. You get 20% off an order, no matter if you've already used the order. By the way, Florida State down 12-0 safety. Everybody's saying in the chat room. I have not been able to watch that. Obviously, we've been a touch busy here. Nightmare scenario unfolding for the ACC. They've already lost Louisville. So if Florida State needs an impressive win, they're not going to get an impressive opponent in the conference championship game, but it appears they've got troubles already in Gainesville. If Florida State is out of this thing, all of a sudden that SEC championship game becomes extremely interesting for this reason. If Alabama happens to win, I think that would put them in.
Well, if Florida State's out, then you go Pac-12 champion.
Yep.
You can go Texas, Big Ten champion, SEC champion.
That's right. So it's very easy with Florida State out of the mix. I think the interesting thing comes if Alabama wins, maybe a one-loss Pac-12 champion, a Texas, and Georgia. That's what really becomes interesting with Florida State out of the way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Listen,
what's got to happen first?
Yeah, I mean,
Alabama's got to play a whole lot better.
Yes, much better than they played here tonight, giving up almost 250 rush yards in a win, though. 27-24, the Gravedigger play at the end. Alabama wins it in an absolutely incredibly wild Iron Bowl.
Real quick, Nate Oates, ready?
Yep. Is that how you're going to end the show? Tech's leading Georgia 10-7. Hey, you didn't want chaos. You say chaos isn't coming. Did that count as chaos? I mean, I know Alabama won. That's still chaos.
Well, technically, I don't think it's chaos because the team
it was chaos.
Needed to win the playoffs won. But, I mean, at this point, you do not want Georgia to lose.
Yeah.
So go cheer for Tech.
Yep.
I mean, Georgia.
Yep. All right, here we go. We appreciate you joining us. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can buy that shirt right there that Dunaway's trying to point at nextround.store. Nextround.
A horrible weather person.
.store. More coverage coming up on our YouTube channel
Don't go
and
anywhere.
Social media. Yep. EG is just to our left right here, editing the crap out of something.
Show people how hard she works.
Yep.
Look at this. Look how
Look
hard
at EG.
Editing.
EG's editing. Yeah. Get them, EG. All right. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Go support everything.
Tour of the stadium.
Okay, you want a tour of the stadium?
Here we go. Look.
We got stand-ups going on from our friends in TV. There's Jordan Hare Stadium tonight. All right.
If you're watching in Huntsville, there's Channel 19 up in your neck of the woods in Huntsville.
All right. Everybody have a fun night. Thank
See
you for
guys.
joining us.